Ooh. Buenos dias. Now, I must apologise. I think I'm live. It does sound live, yeah. So first of all, thanks for joining me if you are there. Secondly, I must apologise that next door are having some work done on their... I was going to change the glasses because they keep reflecting off. There's a great big... My brother was... here we are. No, that doesn't really do it either, does it? Is it like... Oh, well. I have got eyes, honestly. It looks like they're all gone purple, but anyway, it's off the screen. So next door having some reform work done. So if you hear any banging, it's not anyone being killed. It literally is some work being done in the shop next door. I was going to just go through the first... I'm going to put these proper glasses back on, so it hasn't helped at all. I was going to go through the idea. Morning, Shortwaves, and morning, Michael. Yeah, everything's okay here, thank you. West Sussex, I used to live in East Sussex. Carl's here, hi Carl. Morning, Alan, from a snowy, sunny west coast. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, Scotland weather's going to be cold up there. And hi, Jonathan. Thanks all for joining us. We're going to go through probably about a, I'm going to say probably 15, 20 minute sort of thing. Really just wanted to chat through the first sort of steps of looking at buying a property in Tenerife. And at the end of this series, which is going to be 3 or 4, and I'm thinking I'm going to make number 3 a little bit, having 2 steps together, and then a 4 will just be a complete question and answer. Mike's risen from his pit then, because he said he didn't know what Saturday morning is. Hi Barney, hope everything's well with you guys. Zoran's there from Serbia, looks of it, and Lorraine, I bet that's cold in Serbia. Oh, just a quick update then on the weather here is, it's greyish actually on the way in, still warm. I've got the fan on up in there in the corner, but I've put it down a little bit because it's, I thought it might make a bit of noise on the old microphone. So let's get on to the plan. If you're thinking about buying a place in Tenerife, lots of steps are involved, and it's obviously a massive step if you're thinking about buying a property here. And so I've done some basic steps, and as I say, this particular part of the series will be approximately, I'm hoping no longer than 15 minutes. I'm going to do another one next week at 11. It'll be another one the week after that, and then a final one, which will, as I say, probably be an question and answer session. So if you have any questions through the period, feel free to ask them here now, but I don't want to get COVID vaccine week after next. Who's that for? Alan Gebby. What's that? Whole of Scotland then? Or that's you personally, Alan? Tell us about that. Shortwave says weather here is 4 centigrade. Nice and warm for you then, RF Shortwave. 4 centigrade. Probably warmer than where where Alan was, because he was absolutely freezing. Reads from Leeds, just showing up. Morning. Carl. Hi, Carl, in Birmingham. So, okay, let's think about, if you're thinking about buying a property in Tenerife, one of the first things you're really going to need to think about is what you want and what sort of budget you've got. Really, if you, and I also think as well, if you don't tell an agent what you want, if you just say, well, just looking for 2 bedrooms for 100,000, well, you're not, well, first of all, you wouldn't get that in the south anyway, very unlikely. But, you know, it's a sort of a too broad a spectrum. On my website, for example, I've got a questionnaire that people fill out, and they say, I'm looking for, you know, the questions are there, but it says, how many bedrooms are you looking for? 1, 2, 3, or 4. What areas do you want? Do you want south or north? Because I can't really help you in the north. Do you want, over 6, sorry, Alan's there saying over 60s and under 70s for his jab. -2 in Northumberland. Hi, Eric. So going back to what your real plans are, think about what you want, think about the budget you want, and think about what you want to use it for as well. If you, for example, are only going to use it for friends and family, then you'll know probably more where you and your friends and family want to be on the island. Do you want to be in Las Americas? Do you want to be potentially next door to neighbours who are only there for, potentially only there for parties? There are complexes that probably are more geared to adults and probably less parties, but you know, you just have a think about that. Also, if you think you want it for retirement, so maybe you say, well, I'll have it for now and, you know, see if it can pay for itself with friends and family through the next 5 years before I retire. But think about where you're buying now for 5 years' time when you do retire. Because if you're thinking in 5 years' time that you're going to retire and you're going to retire in this place that you like now, it could be two totally different places. So have a think about that. So going on to in my notes here, going on to your budget, also think about whether or not you need a mortgage, because if you come to actually I did write some things here, let me just put them up because it will look quite professional then. So there we are, look. Have a good think about what you want first. Seriously, have a good think about what you want first, because you know, do you want 2 bedrooms? A lot of people will actually buy something with 2 bedrooms simply because they know the people are going to be coming over on holiday. Why not, if you think you might want to buy in a different complex but you haven't got the money for it, why not buy a 1 bed with a larger lounge and a put me up sofa bed, and you know, if they want to come over on holiday, then they get the lounge. It's a free holiday after all, isn't it? So going on to the next step then, payments. Do you need a mortgage? So if you need a mortgage, I recommend that you should get a mortgage in principle. A British bank will not lend on a Spanish property. We use a company called Mortgages Direct. I've got their card here. In fact, I wrote this as well. If you go, you can't click that link, but if you go to our website, tenerifepropertygroup.com, and then on the top bar at the top there, in fact, I might, if now we'll see how professional I am or not, the case may be. So can I do this? I'm trying to share. Oh, there we are, share screen. Right. So not that one there, share, and I'll go here. Right. So I'm hoping you can see this. If you go to tenerifepropertygroup.com here, and then click here, mortgages. So that is the whole URL there that you see on the bottom of the screen. And then go down here, there's a video there. In fact, that's a video where I talk with Bojena of Mortgage Direct, explaining, or she explains quite a bit about it. There's a link there that'll get you through to their website. There's a sort of a calculator thing, and there's some more information there. And if you want to make an inquiry, you can make an inquiry there. You can make an inquiry on that screen, on that link there as well. And they'll be more than happy to help you out. But so you can't link on that on the thing that's at the bottom of the screen here, but you can go to my website, which is what I just did there. So have a think about that. If you come over to Tenerife and you've already got a mortgage in principle, so yeah, I'm allowed to borrow 200,000 and I've got the deposit, the required deposit to buy something, then you're in a much better position. You're in almost as good a position as someone who's got cash. So if you get a mortgage in principle agreed, then you know, you stand a good chance, a better chance of getting what you want. So another thing, so a swig of water. Another thing is, have you been to Tenerife before? So when you're thinking about properties that you want, have a think about, oh yeah, I went to Las Americas. I really like Las Americas, but perhaps you'd be more suited for Los Cristianos, maybe. I don't know, for your long term, for all of your holidays. Or have you been to Golf del Sur before and you absolutely love it there, and you know the people, you know the bars and things like that? So is that somewhere that you want to stay? So have that in mind about where you want to be. Right. So the next question I would think is, what type of property are you going to want? So we went over it briefly about how many bedrooms, but do you want a villa? Do you want a villa with a pool? Now, I know these are all obvious questions, but have a think about it before you come. Do you want a villa with a pool that's going to cost you, I don't know, €100 a month rather, just for looking after the swimming pool? You know, if you get a crack in the side of the wall, then it's down to you. Do you want that sort of potential cost in the future? A lot of people do, not that they want the cost, but they do, they don't mind at all, you know, having that, because they want, it goes to banging now, they don't mind having that cost because they have the pleasure of having a pool. So just have that in mind. We already talked about thinking about the areas. Really think about the areas you want to be and think about why you want to use it. If you want to rent it out, Las Americas is your ideal place because that's where a lot of people like to go on holiday. So while we're talking about where to buy and what to buy, have a think about your running costs. We just talked about swimming pool. Have a think about your maintenance upkeep. if you're buying on a community, you'll be charged a monthly community fee. So obviously you need to find out how much that's going to be, see if you're okay with that sort of cost as well. There is a link. I'm going to do this again. Bear with me a second. Oh, here, can I do that? There's a link up here on my website again. If you go to buyer's info and then go down here to how much does it cost to run my property in Tenerife. So there's a link there with, again, some ideas on how much it costs to run the average sort of property. So that's an idea. So have a think about the running costs as well. And just ask your agent to find out, or when I say that's quite helpful for you anyway. How are you going to use the property? We sort of semi-discussed that, but just make sure that, you know, what you're buying today might not be the same as what you want to buy and what you want to use it for in 10 years time, especially if you're thinking about retiring. You know, if you're thinking about having something in Latin America, it's going to be a great return on investment, but is that the place that you want to retire? So maybe think that if you buy something out of Las Americas, in this instance, you might want to buy something that's, let's say, suitable for retired people to rent, rather than going after the party crowd in Las Americas to rent it. Think about the longer, for yourself in the longer term, in 10 years when you want to retire, and just think about maybe buying something that's perhaps suitable for retired people now, that might not be exactly what you want today, but it'll save you sort of the purchase and sale cost of selling this one in Las Americas and then moving off to the place where you wanted to. Okay, so now you've got an idea about exactly what you want to buy, where you're going to find it. So I suggest you look through the obvious portals. You want to look on Rightmove, Place in the Sun, Zoopla. These are all, go for Rightmove. There's Rightmove overseas, not Rightmove UK. I think it's rightmove.co.uk, and then there's an overseas link or something like that. So what you what you can do is go through there. Then you can see what you can buy for your previously already sussed out, because you already worked it out, your budget. So have a think about that. Go on to those websites. They're the ones you probably know about, but there's also a couple of sites which I don't think a lot of people know about. Quiero.com and Think Spain. I think that's thinkspain.com as well. I should have written it on there. So there are some more websites there that you can find various properties on, and that way then you're going to get a good idea about what you actually want. And then you can also go on to find other agents' websites as well. So just searching, once you've maybe sussed out you want 2 beds in Los Cristianos for 250,000 euros or whatever it is, then you can then start searching, or realizing once you've started looking at the more mainstream websites, once you realize that you are able to get what you're thinking you can get, then you can maybe see some other things that are perhaps not advertised on Rightmove, because maybe some of those agents don't advertise on Rightmove, Place in the Sun, Zoopla, and the other two I just mentioned. So have a look on other agents' websites, but this is a big but. Not everything's for sale on their webs, even on Rightmove as well, probably, and things like that. Even on the more streamlined portals. The thing is, a lot of agents perhaps don't keep their property list up to date, probably for 2 reasons. One of them is that they might not even know that the property is sold. Here, although it goes much against what I think it should be like, but it is how it is. Here, a seller can put it with however many agents they want. So they could put it with agent 1 and 2. So there we are, it's 300,000 euros, agent 1 and 2 have 300,000 euros. 6 months down the line, it doesn't sell. So the seller decides to put it on with agent 3. When it's with agent 3, it's 280,000 euros, because the seller realizes, but only actually tells agent 2. So agent 1 has it at agent 1 has it at 300, agent 2 has it at 280, and agent 3 has it at 280. Well, agent 4 then gets it at 280 and then sells it. Well, because these two, agent 3 and agent 2, are quite still fresh in the mind of the seller, they get told that it's being sold. Maybe one of them removes it, maybe one of them keeps it on, just to try and attract other potential buyers for a property like that. That very often happens. But agent 1 might be totally forgotten about and still have it at 300,000 euros, even though 8 months later it was sold. So although sometimes it's a bit of a bad trick by some agents to leave sold properties on their website, especially at lower prices, to try and attract potential buyers. Just don't believe that everything that you see is sold. It's something that goes on quite a lot here. So the next thing would be use fewer agents to show you properties. So if you do get in touch with some agents, what I try and recommend is that you try and deal with the least amount of agents. If you're emailing 5, 8, 10 agents or something like that, when you become serious, I mean, it's fine if you're in the start, to start looking. Obviously, you might want more information about XYZ because you want to know running costs or whatever it is. But when you actually come over, try and deal with the fewest agents you possibly can. And in fact, I would say maybe even try and deal with just one agent. And my reason for that is, if you're dealing with 3 agents, 3 different agents, and you're asking about 2-bedroom apartments, Los Cristianos or whatever, you might end up getting shown, and this has happened loads of times, you might end up being shown the same property. You won't be shown it, but you'll be shown it by agent 1, but agent 2 have it on their list to show you as well. And then agent 2 then takes you there, oh, I've already seen this one. That's quite embarrassing. Also, I think if you're dealing with specifically 1, maybe 2 agents, you tend to get a better service because, I mean, currently, here we are in lockdown. Well, not lockdown, but we're in the pandemic. And there are many fewer buyers on the island. This is just an example. But because there are so few buyers on the island, they're dealing with loads and loads of agents. And we're getting inquiries for properties which the potential buyers already inquired about. But we're getting it from loads and loads of agents as well. So that's the downside. These agents perhaps are not so enthusiastic, perhaps, if they know that this particular buyer is with every other agent. They're not going to sort of put in a whole lot of effort. So I just think that, if you use fewer agents to ask you, when you come over, to ask you to show some properties, then just deal with fewer agents. And the last thing is, oh, you can't actually see it because I've been putting all of my professional things along the bottom there. The last thing is send me an email, because at the end of this, once we've done our 3, maybe 4, in fact, if I do a question and answer session on the last one, then I can perhaps incorporate some of those in this checklist. I'll be doing a checklist. So if you want it, if I get rid of that, that's my email address there. So I could do that, just like professionals do. SimonSG@tenerifepropertygroup.com. So email me and just write checklist in the subject line. You don't have to write anything else. Just email me that. Just write checklist. And then when I get to the end of this series, as I say, we'll be doing another one next week at 11 o'clock, a 3rd week, and then probably a 4th one, which will be question and answers. When we get to the end of that, and once I'm happy with that checklist, I'll just send it out to everyone, and then you can just have the list. Okay. Let's have a quick look. Oh, let's just have a quick look and see who has come and seen us. So let's have a look here. Alan, we got up to Alan and Eric there. Richard, hi Richard. Oh, Richard's in Milton Keynes. In fact, he's on our website actually. I interviewed Richard and Marie about their buying experience. I'll just quickly, if you're still there, some of you, just show you how to get to that. Let's remember how to do this. Right, here we go. Right. So go to buyer info, so back to tenerifepropertygroup.com, along this here, and then there's a little link down here, which I wrote here, owner's experiences. And here are a list of videos. In fact, you're going to see, there we are, that's Richard and that's Marie. So they're on our, let's get rid of that now. They're on our website, and they were very kind to give me an interview recording. We did a Skype, face-to-face Skype thing, so that was nice. So that's interesting as well. It gives you a few questions and answers there. Ray says, morning. Oh, thank you very much, Ray. Nice. Morning, James. Morning, Mo. What about if you want to buy for rental potential? So not sure quite what you mean by that, Mike, but I mean, you'd obviously be looking into various specific areas, that are particularly popular for rental. So, obviously along the coast there, say anywhere from Gulf del Sur through to El Medina, maybe even, because you can rent very nicely there because you've got a lot of surfers and things like that would be very interested. So, any of those along there would be great. Los Gigantes for me says RF shortwaves, weather's warm, one bed complex with swimming pool, perfect. Let me know if you didn't need help there, RF. Any news on moving, working to Tenerife post-Brexit? Right, that's from Beachy Man 80. I'll be doing, I will be doing a video, but I'll probably be doing that as just a video just to be uploaded onto Facebook and YouTube. So keep your eyes open for that. But briefly, as it stands at the moment, the UK is now a third country. Third country means that if you want to come here for more than 90, you're only allowed to spend 90 days in any of the countries that are in the EU. So the EU will only accept Brits, being a third country, for no more than 90 days in any rolling 180, which means that if you come here for 30 and you go out for 30, you can only come back for 60. Doesn't matter going back for one day, your 90 doesn't start again. There is somewhere, I tried it the other day actually, there is somewhere on the internet, because it's called the Schengen area, and there is a website that gives you a calculation as to if I come on the 15th of January and then leave on the 18th of February, and how many more days have I got, and then when does it restart? But it didn't work very well, I wasn't very impressed with it. Richard says, we'll bought a one bed, and put up the privacy screen in the living room, perfect. Right, okay, yeah, good idea. Richard says that they bought a one bed. Well, we know Richard bought a one bed because you can see his video there with Marie. So they put up this, I suspect it's probably one of the Chinese sort of screens or something like that. It's a good idea. But blow it, I mean, crikey, if you've got friends and family coming over for a free holiday in your apartment that you're paying for, blow it, there's the sofa, mate, enjoy it. Danny, morning Danny, all okay here, thank you. Kelly saying Donna, I expect she's linking through there. Sarah, hi Sarah from Ireland. Oh, I'm at work listening. Mind you, she's on her break, so she's all right. Where else are we here? Where did Sarah there? Scott, hi Scott. Bought my friend's apartment in Silencia, across the little Silencia then, and your buyer's guide was excellent. Thanks, people. We should always be aware to pay 12% in extra fees. Right, okay. I'm going to dispute that, Scott. Or you tell me that you bought it with a mortgage, because the majority of people will only spend maximum 10% if you're not having a mortgage. But let's assume that, let's hope you were buying with a mortgage, because if you weren't, someone's charged you a bit too much there, to be honest. What about Idealista? Sorry, yeah, that's a good site as well. Didn't mention that one. Jonathan asked about Idealista. As Scott says, make sure you, but exactly that, yeah. So Mike just confirms what Scott said, but I will say that 10%, if you're not buying with a mortgage, 10% is plenty. So you're buying for 200, another 20,000, and if you're buying for cash, no mortgage, then you'll have change for a few beers after as a celebration. Andy, we bought 1 million from Simon, and thank you very much, Andy. So yeah, Andy bought Andy and Michelle. They bought a nice villa in El Madroñal. It's more of a residential type area, but they come here and use it as a holiday. So I mean, it's great for them. You've got a supermarket down there. This is El Madroñal, an area the other side of the motorway. And you've got nice, so I say the uncoastal side, let's say, but they've got, I don't know, let's say a 15-20 minute walk down to Playa Fania Bay, if you've ever been to Playa Fania Bay. So they enjoy themselves down there, and within walking distance, within easy walking distance, they've got the Grand Sur shopping centre. So you've got restaurants and bars and a big supermarket there, and they've got their own local bars and restaurants and cafes there, and a couple of shops there as well. So although you think it's a residential area, it's actually, and it is, but there are things going on. Nicholas says, Jonathan Smith, I wondered, right, so they're talking amongst, can you not talk amongst yourselves, please, Nicola and Jonathan? It's a professional outfit here. Scott, John Dunlop, right, so yes, Bowood 11 says, can't wait to come back out. Morning, Paul Foster. Hi, Christine. Hank says, great info. Thank you, Hank. Thanks for joining us. Where are we here? Catherine, thanks very much. Oh, sorry, not Catherine, Christine. Paul Foster says he's an owner living in Los Cristianos. Hi, Paul. I'm in Los Cristianos. I think a lot of people know that now. Sinead, interested in knowing this. Right, so Sinead, just if you're bit late to the show, I'll be doing this one, I'll be doing one next week, one the following week, and then maybe question and answer on the fourth week. Jim says, good to buy to rent out before moving, maybe in 3 years. Is it good to buy to rent out? Right, so how does residency work, given that my wife is an EU citizen and I'm just British now? You're only British, Jimmy. Well, if your wife's an EU citizen, then she'll just, she'll be able to come for as long as she likes. Just you that has to worry about going back after 90 days of within the 180. So she'll be allowed to come out and stay as long as she likes, unfortunately. But anyway, but yeah, buying now, and you could buy now and rent out. The market, let's just talk about the market then. The market hasn't crashed at all due to COVID, the pandemic, at all. It's let's just say it's stable. It's not rising, but it's not falling either. And I'm wondering, I mean, a lot of people who own properties here, it's their second home. They don't have mortgages on them, probably 5%. Oh, it's a very, very low figure. I don't know, it's 5%, but there are very, very few people that have mortgages here for second homes, which means that they're in no rush to sell. Very often we get the, I'm in no rush to sell type answer, which is never very good for me as an agent if you're not in a rush to sell. Which will mean that you're likely to want top money for it, and if someone comes along, unlikely to negotiate. But the point is, buying now, you're not buying in a dip. So I don't think you're buying in a dip now, because there are some people out there who do want to sell and want to sell. Maybe they started thinking about selling March last year, but now it's come to a year where hardly anyone's come to the island. So start thinking now maybe, and then see what happens after the lockdown. Richard says, nice lockdown chat with Simon. Thank you very much, Richard. Don't know if you can hear them now. Ducky says, like it, still affordable compared to more popular areas. Luca, which Spanish website would you suggest? Yeah, Idealista, Fotocasa, pisos.com as well, Luca. And also you can think about Mil Anuncios as well, Mil Anuncios. Mike says, grant a power of attorney to my solicitor. Right, so I was going to talk about, but you're right, yeah, Mike says, I granted power of attorney to my solicitor, so paid a little bit extra to get the mortgage and everything sorted out without having to constantly flood. That's absolutely right, Mike, and perfectly acceptable. So, I mean, that comes into the at least 10%, maybe even 12% because of the mortgage, because of the power of attorney and so on. So that's absolutely perfectly right. And that cost is then acceptable. But with regard to power of attorneys, that's going to be in maybe the next session, but certainly the session after that. Scott Brown had a few issues with the seller's lawyer and paid cash, but happy with the charges. Oh, this I think was the guy that bought his friend's property. Also gave my lawyer the power of attorney. Right, that's it, exactly that. TNR says, hi, how hard will it be to get a visa now to try and live there permanently, but buy a property for cash and have 150,000 to retire them? Yeah, probably not a problem. There are income not limits. There's income structures now that you need to adhere to. Plenty of information on the internet. In fact, if I remember, what I'll just quickly do, bear with me a sec. Income limit, not limits, I know, for after post. So add to checklist. Okay, so I'll add those links into that checklist. So that'll be done in 3 or 4 weeks' time. And so if you send me an email, if you're interested in that, just send me an email to the bottom there. Where are we? There. Okay, send an email to that and just write checklist in the subject line, and I'll add you to a list, and then that will be sent out. What's that? No, Ali. Ali says, hi, are UK residents have to pay extra taxes to sell now? Not as far as I know. And does a Brit become dual national? Not too sure about that. Does a Brit have to become? No, I don't think that. I'm just trying to read Shortwave's last question there. Does a Brit become dual nationality in order to stay more? You'd have to. Some people have got these. They keep talking about the Irish passport, which will be to allow them to be Southern Ireland, which will be still in the EU, but out of the UK. So they're still kind of British, or whether Southern Irish amongst you will say no, they're not. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to get to. So yeah, if you've got sort of, is it grandparents maybe who are Southern Irish, then I think you're allowed to get their, have an Irish passport. Their passport offices must be absolutely rammed, or have been for the past year, I should think. Buying an apartment tied to a hotel contract for 2 years. What's your opinion? Probably not a good idea, Sinead, because you're not even allowed to use it. I know what you're talking about. I'm assuming you're talking about Beverly Hills, something like that. It's a timeshare complex. Probably not the best thing. So if you want to stay for 6 months of the UK winter, do we need a visa? No, you're just not. If you're Brit, you're not allowed to stay, Sean, more than 30 days. Now, I'm hoping, I think we're all hoping, but I'm hoping that something will happen. But as it stands at the moment, it's just the third country, and you're a third country, no more than 90 days. And Ange says, good morning, Simon. So that's everyone answered. And that's 30 minutes. I've gone over what I thought would be a 15 to 20 minute chat. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe see you next Saturday if I haven't bored you too much. Well, there's at least 82 of you, 83 of you that haven't died of boredom yet anyway. So anyway, all I'm going to say is thanks very much. Have a nice weekend. Next week, bear with me a second. Next week, I'm going to do what to do when you found your own place in the sun. So you've decided what you want. You decided where you want it, you decided on the budget, maybe you've already got a pre-approval on a mortgage. Then we're going to say next week is going to be what you actually do when you found it. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week maybe. See you later. Bye. Find that broadcast thing now. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Lorraine. See you, Paul. Bye.